Okay, mind slaves. Today is the last day to have your battle and have it done and tell me who's the winner because I want to go ahead and advance to round 2. Anyways, today round 1 is supposed to be over, but of course there are a couple of people who just haven't gotten their battle done yet or just can't find the other person. I've heard from Normal, I know what's going on there, and Grass, no clue. I've heard from everybody else, and I know who's advancing to the next round, except for those few types. So, here we go. Time to draw some names out of a hat. Okay, here we go. Steve, please take the honors of reading these names out for me.
But my name's not Steve.
We had an agreement.
Okay, then I'll read the names. Okay, in round 2, Grass will be facing Dark. And Normal will be facing Flying. Dragon will be facing Steel. Electric will be facing Psychic. Rock will be facing Poison. Water will be facing Get off! Come on! Paper! Stupid! Fighting! Bug will be facing Ghost. And last but not least, Ground will be facing off against Fire. So, those are the people in round 2.
Alright, we have a battle against Ran4gef0rm0ney, or something like that. So he sends out a Spartan, I send out look out below, because he's a Spartan and you can make so many jokes from 300. Anyways, I try to kick him into the pit, but he doesn't go in there, and he just throws some stones at me, and yeah, I kinda die. Public stoning, anyone? Anywho, my Aerodactyl just goes down, and the Spartan's just standing there eating apples because it has won victory over the enemy. So I bring out something that's not a starfish, and I decide to surf because it's like choice specs and whatnot. And the Spartan now falls into the pit.
This is Sparta!
So he brings out something that's not a copy, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I just surf on the copy, and like, yeah, it gets wet, and then it can't really hold up that well. So it throws a ball of energy at me because it short circuits because it's a copying machine. And yeah, my starfish kind of dies, but it's not a starfish. So he eats some more of the apples and whatnot, and I send out my glass cannon because it's made of glass and it'll break if you touch it. And I go for Brick Break, and he brings out a Tyranitar, so yeah, that's definitely pwned by breaking its bricks and nothing to hide behind, so yeah, my glass cannon just destroys him. And he told me that this Tyranitar had Rain Dance on it, which is strange. So he brings us something that Tigwas Pones? I don't know. So he punches me with a sucker, and I'm like, I don't even have a sub out. Why are you punching me with a sucker? So I try to break its bricks, but it's not as effective as it was against the Tyranitar. So the sandstorm's still going on. I decided to switch out to Kedodo because it has an Afro and whatever. Afro Gunzo, whatever. So he tries hitting me with a sucker, but it doesn't work because I have an Afro. And then he tries again, and it works this time. But my Afro catches a sucker, and it doesn't do anything. And I show it the power of the earth by killing it. Hooray, Kedodo Gunzo. And it's strange Afro. And so he sends out something that pwns rock type, or whatever, and I set some seeds on it, and it tries to cross me with gigantic scissors, and I'm like, whoa, dude, you don't want to cut my Afro, I'll kill you. It's my Afro. So I get buffeted by the sandstorm because the sandstorm is just raging. It's going, ah! And I'm getting some more health from leftovers and leech seed. And now I bring back Kiroro because I know I can't live another hit, and I bring out something that's cold as stone. And later in another battle, I forgot the focus sash on this thing. It's, yeah. So he decides to tie a knot of grass around me or whatever, and it somehow damages me. And I try to toxic it, but it kind of misses. And we both just stand there doing whatever. He tries to confuse me with a ray of confusion from the light that's beaming underneath from the copying machine, and I get hurt by the light because it burns. So he shows me some power of the earth, which I had no idea copy machines could do, and I take a load of damage from it, and I'm confused, and I toxic. I should have gone for a metal burst there, but whatever. So the sandstorm's still raging about and going, "Rah!" And we're eating leftovers and getting poisoned and all that fun stuff. And I bring back out Kiroro Gunzo because I know it's not going to take anything from this earth power, because unlike most shamans, my shaman's a special wall. So my special defense falls, and he gets a crit. That just kind of sucks. And I get buffeted by the sandstorm, but I'm clever more than retriever, and I go for a rest because I want to be at full health. And the Cradley tries to confuse Shaman with the rays of light, but Shaman's sleeping like a baby. So I'm trying to convince Shaman to go back into its Pokeball because it's asleep, and you never know who might be stalking it. Somebody that has a random Shaman fetish, nobody in particular. But for some reason, Shaman decides to just stay in, but the thing that could possibly get it in its sleep goes away, and he goes to something else that could possibly get it in its sleep. So the sandstorm hits me, and I'm still eating apples somehow. And now I convince Shaman to go back into its Pokeball and send back out my Coldest Stone, predicting a X-Scissor, but he goes for an Aqua Jet, and I live with 8 HP, which is just weird. So he withdraws his type of Ponage or whatever, and I go to my Afro again, because, like, Kiroro Gunzo's an Afro Sergeant or whatever. And I get buffeted by the sandstorm because I'm not Rock type. Or any other type that's not affected by it, like Ground and Steel. So he gets hurt by poison, and he just draws a copying machine. I don't know how a copying machine would get poisoned anyway. So I go for Earth Power on the incoming Milotic, and it takes like nothing from it. And we both get buffeted by the sandstorm because we're not Rock type. So yeah, we're just doing the normal thing that happens during the intern stuff. And then I decide to throw some seeds at it and flare the seeds like a fashion model. And Milotic surprisingly lives and goes for an Ice Beam, but since it's a special wall shaman, it doesn't take anything hardly. So the sandstorm is still raging about, and yeah, more leftovers, more everything else, and I decide to go for an Earth Power because I didn't want a chance Seed Flare missing, because it kind of does that when I use it. So the sandstorm rages. We eat more leftovers, and the copying machine is still poisoned. I'm guessing it has a copy jam or something, and the jam is a poisonous type of jam. So I go for more Earth Powers, which will definitely, like an earthquake or whatever, mess up the copying machine. But the copying machine tries to blind Shaman, and it confuses Shaman because it can't see now. So more lefties, more whatever, more hurt by poison. The jam in the copying machine is finally getting to it. And then I bring out something that's a top and it wants to be spun, and he brings out his Kabutops too. I endure thinking he's going to go for a different move, but he just Aqua Jets, and I was actually thinking that the Endure would help because I have a 0 defense IV for some reason. And he goes for another Aqua Jet, and seeing how I'll live it, I just decide to go for an attack this turn, and I get my Salac boost, and I go for a superpower and show him the powers of Kabutops and whatnot. And I get a critical hit, but I really don't think it mattered because, yeah, Kabutops is not necessarily known for its walling capability. He says it mattered, but I don't know. So, more sandstorm and whatnot, and I slide some rocks onto it, and it dies. It gets crushed, and the copying machine no longer works now. Sandstorm's still raging, but we light sand in our eyes. And then I just go for a waterfall, and I sweep the rest of his team by turning into a broom. So yeah, good game, range 4 for money. And yeah, that's pretty much it.